This is another session of our Women Empowerment Workshops, sponsored by Women on the Move Network, a nonprofit organization dedicated to gender equality by bringing projects, education, inspirational service projects, just to get everyone involved in the decision-making processes of life, from young girls at their home, in their schools, in the family settings, and in the workplace, as well as providing empowerment, additional information and education to women of more mature age to be able to catch up with some of the things that they might have missed out in life by learning ways on getting into those streams of life, and maybe work skills, maybe family skills, whatever is necessary to bring them a voice, to bring them an equal participation in the process of life. So with that, we welcome all of you to this session. We have a wonderful presentation planned for you, and we appreciate our presenters. And we have to say that they are all doing this as volunteer work, as we do, as all of us do at the Women on the Move Empowerment Workshops, as well as the Women on the Move Network. So please welcome May, who for some reasons that have to do with the digital connections have shut down her screen, her video, and she'll be introducing our presenter by audio, and then she will come on live and turn on her video for all of us to see her. So with that, thank you all, especially our presenter, and I'll just be quiet. And by the way, my name is Sohaila Azizi. I'm on the board of directors of the Women on the Move Network, and we have other friends who will introduce themselves as we go through the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Sohaila. I am honored to introduce to you Kal Antoun, which I have known for a long time. Let me introduce her professionally, and then I'll tell you my personal encounters with her. I want you to meet our distinguished speaker, Kal Antoun, a seasoned professional in a mortgage lending industry with a background in marketing with over a decade of experience. Kal has been a guiding light for countless individuals and families, helping them achieving financial wellness at every stage of life. Kal's expertise extends to the first-time home buyer, to those looking to unlock the potential of their home equity through reverse mortgage, and with a passion for financial education. Kal believes that smart mortgage management and financial literacy are the cornerstone of family success. A proud Californian native, Kal resides in San Gabriel Valley with her family, and her mission is to provide you with a rewarding lending experience, whether you're on a path to a dream home, to your dream home, or working to maintain your home. Kal also actively serves on the board of the East Valley Women's Group, the Arcadia Association of Realtors, and the Cancer Support Community of the Greater San Gabriel Valley, reflecting her commitment to community and empowerment. Here is what to expect from her: the in-depth exploration of essential financial concept, introduction to Savology, a powerful and free tool to personalize financial planning, and insights and practical tools to help you take control of your financial future. On a personal note, Kal, I have known her for many years, serving at the Arcadia Association of Realtors. She's always ready to serve. This girl has a heart of gold, and she is ready to help out anywhere she is needed. She is just there for you.
May I have to say you're embarrassing me, and I think that might be why you cut out, because it's I think I need to keep you with me as my marketing expert. You're very sweet.
I'm so sorry. I lost connection, but I'm back. Thank you.
Thank you, May. That was the kindest introduction I've ever received. I really appreciate it. I just don't know how qualified I am, but I can tell you, and right back at May, you guys know May, you work with her, and she is absolutely one of the most incredible, talented women that I know as well. She's quite a leader and quite an example for young women, especially in today's day and age when, you know, it is harder to be a girl or a young woman or a grown woman these days. It's getting better, but thanks to people like you, we're really becoming aware and doing what we need to do. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, and then you could determine whether or not I'm qualified to speak on any of these topics. But I am actually, I'm a mortgage advisor. She's correct. And I do love education around all that with my clients. But I'm here today not to talk about mortgages. I'm actually a certified liability advisor as well. And so everybody loves to talk about their assets. It's very nice, right, to brag about how much money we have in the stock market or at Merrill Lynch or wherever everybody has all their money. I'm still learning that. I'm going to tell you, I'm very transparent. I'm 61 years old and I'm still learning things every day. And there are things I wish old Cal knew that Cal knows today. So what I like to do is to share what I learned and what I wish I knew back then with other women, so that maybe it will help them just a little bit. My daughter is 30. My oldest son is 35. My middle son is 33. My oldest one is married. I have a beautiful granddaughter and a baby due next Wednesday. My son Adam just got engaged and he's in Switzerland celebrating. And my daughter is 30 and one of the most powerful little women I know. She's a district attorney for the county of LA. And I love it when she tells me, no, Mom, that's future Sarah's problem. And I'm like, you know what, Sarah, the future's here. So we've got to make that problem today. I am the daughter of immigrants, Middle Eastern immigrants, who did not believe that college was something a woman went to. Even though I'm the oldest of my family, my father was the oldest of his family. So it was like, oh, it's just some of you more Middle Eastern women on the call will know when I tell you that my dad was told, oh, it's another girl, don't leave work, it's okay. And my dad was blessed with 2 of us and then my brother. But there was 7 boys in our network and 3 women. And yeah, it's a hard place to be. It's a hard place to grow up. We don't have a big voice. We're expected to do A, B, and C, and yet it's hard to break out. So when it comes to finances, I watched my mother never know how to write a check till the day she died a year ago, 98 years old. I watched my mother without permission to drive her car till I taught her to drive her car, to ask permission for everything. And my dad was a wonderful man. He really was, but he was a victim of his upbringing as well, right? My husband's born in Lebanon. Thank God he is as modern as we all are, but he would testify to the same types of things in his family as well, right? So my mission is just to help us, you know, money's important. So back to the certified liability advisor part, I talk about the liabilities. There's nothing you're going to tell me that I haven't heard or been through. And you know what? I'm not even ashamed to tell you. I mean, I've had times in my life with 3 kids and working 3 jobs. My husband and I try to keep food on the table where we couldn't make our car payment or our house payment. You know, nobody wants to brag about the credit card debt that's suffocating you. And, you know, nobody wants to talk about that, but we have to, because there's ways out. There's ways out of it. There's ways to not repeat the past, right? Especially for women, you know, we're going to college. All women are going to college, right? But you get there and what's everybody trying to do? Make you take a credit card, charge. Take student loans, charge. But nobody tells you what happens when they're due and you can't pay them, right? So that's what I like to do. I like to talk about that side of the balance sheet, the liabilities, and how important they are. I mean, I have a young couple. These young couples are high earning individuals, but they don't know how to save money. They don't have money for a down payment. And they're coming to me after they've bought that Tesla and they got convinced into a $900 a month, you know, a mortgage on their car, right? These are conversations that we have to have. Please stop me and ask questions. I'm going to try to keep this loose and light. I'm going to share my screen, but wait, I got to go back because hold on a second. Let me close this. I got to find I apologize. I'm on my laptop, so it makes it just a little bit harder to navigate back and forth. Okay, so let me share my screen right now. And we're going to go through this. This is a wonderful, wonderful presentation. Can you all see my screen? Women, Wealth, and Well-Being. And I chose this, and I know there's a couple guys on the call, and thank you for being here. I think we can all learn, and we appreciate it. I mean, this is for women and men. Believe me, there's men in my culture that are repressed. They aren't allowed to be who they want to be or the life that they want to live as well. My uncle's a classic example. He was forced to work in the family business. You know, he served in the armed forces and wanted to stay and be the secretary and live in Europe. He was a pianist and artist, and he had to give all that up because you have to be a man and come back here and work on the machines and do all those things. So this is applicable to so many of us. But I do apologize in advance because my slides are going to be very women-centric, okay? But you know, it's important because we want to talk about not just women, but our wealth and our well-being, because it's so important that we take care of our entire self, right? I mean, we have to take care of our mind and our body. And I know that when you have financial stress, it's probably, I mean, I think it's ranked up there at the top 3 most stressful things we can go through in life. And I've seen older women where, you know, the dementia starts setting in and the financial stress, it makes it worse. Just like the dying of a loved one or the losing of a loved one or a pet, losing a pet, right? I mean, these are all financial stresses for women and different stresses. So we're going to try to talk about this stuff today. We're going to talk about kind of where we are, you know, women in the world today. You know, what does wealth mean to you? And I'd love to hear from all of you, you know, what does wealth mean to you? And we're going to talk about maybe investing beyond the headlines, and then how do we build our foundation? And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about and through this. And again, please ask questions or feel free to jump in with your life experience, you know. So, you know, there we are. We're all shapes and sizes and colors and ages and interests and what have you. And we're in the world today, and we're on the move. And there's no stopping us, right? And look at this, women power is growing. So 50% of us of recent degrees are the earners in the family. 57% of us are higher earners in the family. You know, 49, these are just fun statistics, but 49% of the athletes at the 2021 Olympics were women. 2 times women start businesses at the rate of 2 times more than the rate of men. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. Right? Yeah. Who said that? You're right. It's true. We got a little more gumption. We're not afraid, you know. We got I'm going to call it the balls to do it, you know, to give it a try. 27% of the 117th US Congress is women. So we're getting there, ladies. We are getting there. And 22.5% of the Fortune 500 have board seats. And 12.3 million women owned businesses in the United States. I mean, that is truly, truly incredible. And what happens? So are our assets. They're growing. Women are controlling more wealth than ever before. We are the breadwinners or co-breadwinners in the majority of homes. We're set to inherit a majority of $30 billion in generational wealth in the United States. And we're projected to own 81 to 93% of the
30 trillion.
Trillion, right? Of the global private wealth. That's what I meant to say. Sorry, I'm looking at it, not saying it. Of the global private wealth by 2023. But all that said, we still have some challenges, right? We're still earning 84 cents to the dollar for what a man earns. We're getting closer, 84 cents, but it's still less. You know, more than 2.3 million women left the workforce in 2020 during COVID. They left during COVID. I think they're coming back in. I think we can talk about that later, but you know, we can talk about who amongst us did that and who was able to do it virtually and not. But 69% of women don't consider themselves investors. And 65% of women say finances are their top cause of stress. And I can tell you that I've been doing what I do now for 16 years. It's my second act. And I work with a lot of financial advisors, women that work directly with other women, help divorced women, women that are widowed, women that are just on their own. And I see it all the time. It's the biggest cause of stress for them because they just don't know. Look, I was telling some of the ladies today that I had to put my uncle on hospice today. He's 105. My aunt is 89. We don't even know how they're going to, the care at the house, it's $30,000 a month. It's like, how can we all afford to do that if we aren't prepared, right? 41% of women haven't started saving for retirement. And I get that. I started my second act 16 years ago with no retirement. So, I mean, how many of us can say the same thing, right? And what do we all want? I mean, please feel free to shout out what you want, but the women that we pulled want to be financially secure. They want to be debt-free. I call it financial freedom for me. Feel confident about money and be knowledgeable about investing and invest to fulfill their goals. All right, so now I'm going to ask you guys some questions. Tell me, what does wealth mean to you? Who wants to answer that? I can tell you for me, I don't need to be the richest lady on the planet. I don't need a big fancy house or fancy cars, but I want to be able to be with my kids and I want financial freedom. I want to be debt-free and I want to be financially free. What about you guys?
I'll share you my fear. In addition to all that you had listed in the slide before, that getting old and having to have someone else clean up after me or think for me or, just get me in and out of bed and not being able to afford it. That's like the biggest fear, I think, every human being, because that future needs is important, and it doesn't hit us until we actually have people around us dying, or as you said, being left for hospice care that are very expensive these days.
It is. And you have a very valid concern. I do another class called Should I Stay or Should I Go? Because we're just trying to get people of our age group to start thinking of it now so you can make your own decisions. You don't want to wait until you're in your 90s and now somebody else is making that decision for you, right? Anybody else? What does wealth mean to you?
For me, it means that I have enough money that I don't have to worry about where the next money is going to come from. I don't have to worry about any bills and be in a position to be able to help other people financially.
That's absolutely perfect, and I agree with you. I have that same concern, just to have enough to where it's not stressful. You know where it's coming from. You know it's consistent, right? And I love that you want to be able to give back. I think that's beautiful. Anybody else? What does wealth mean to you? You can say it if you want to be in a mansion and live on an island. We won't judge you. What wealth means to me might be something. It means I have 3 kids, and I can tell you that wealth means something completely different to all of them. I have my older son who wants to be a billionaire. It's like his mission, and he wants to, live in Beverly Hills and just live that life. I have another son who wealth means to him, he doesn't want to work hard. He'd love to live on a farm and live off the land. That's what his perfect life is. And my daughter would love to be able to help immigrants stay in this country and not worry about how she's going to get paid to do that. So it's like everybody's different, right?
Wealth, wealth has a spiritual component for me, because it's a gift from God. And when you think about it that way, I think you take caution to how you spend your wealth, and
Yeah.
what you spend it on. And I agree with it, what everybody else has said about, having enough, being able to, help other people, my family. Yeah.
Yeah. True. Anybody else want to share? Okay, well, we're going to move on here. And so here's a fun slide, because it's like, how do you want to save, spend, and share your wealth, right? So there's only really three things you do with money, right? You're going to save it, you're going to spend it, or you're going to share it. I mean, there's not a whole lot more you can do with it, right? I mean, yeah, you could stick it under your pillow or whatever, but that's saving it. And so these are the three pillars that we need to think about. So what are we saving for? It depends on what stage we're in, right? When I was younger, I was saving for college. I was saving for my children's education, right? For retirement, spending. How are we going to spend it? Is it on your housing? Is it on your food, your clothing, education, your travel, some interests maybe? And how are we going to share that? Are we going to share it by being, like she said, charitable with your money, or with your family, or, with those in need? Those are kind of the three buckets that we talk about, right? And so I challenge you all to set goals. I really am I'm a big believer of goals. I actually do not do a yearly plan or I have my 5-year plan, my vision, right? But I set my goals in 90-day increments, because think about it, 90 days is not the end of the world. If I blow it, I start over. But if I can accomplish it, wow, I get to accomplish that, 4 times during the year. And so that's another exercise. And if you guys want me back, I could do that with you. I have a little mastermind class to where we just think about our gratitude and where we've been and where we're going, right? And then we come up, it all boils down to what's your 90-day plan, whether it's I'm going to lose 20 pounds by Christmas, or I'm going to save X amount of dollars, or I'm going to go on that Alaskan cruise that I always wanted to go to, right? But when you set your goals, and so I challenge you today to go back to this slide about the one right before this, where we talked about save, spend, and share. So if you came up with 3 pillars of what I'm going to do in 2024, how much money am I going to save, right? Come up with a budget and where you're going to spend your money, and maybe try to spend a little bit on yourself. You know what I mean? Some self-care, some self-love, some whatever it is you need to do for yourself, whether it's exercising or hiking or whatever. And then also how you're going to share your money. And those goals need to be what we call them. I'm sure you've all heard this before, nothing new, but they've got to be SMART. And what does that mean? They have to be specific. So I can't say, I want to lose weight. I have to say, I want to weigh by December 10th, right? Because I'm not going to tell you what I want to weigh, because then it'll give it away. But you have to be specific. So you have to give a number. I want to weigh this number. Then it has to be measurable. You have to be able to measure how you're going to do that. So, how am I going to know? I'm going to weigh myself, and I'm going to be accountable to myself, right? That I'm going to do this. And it has to be achievable. It can't be pie in the sky. Look, I know 1 million people are doing Ozempics. They all think it's the greatest thing. And if you're doing it, good for you. But it's, as well as I do, as smart women, it's what you take in and what you put out. And that's how you're going to lose weight, right? So I can't say that in the next 6 weeks, I'm going to lose 50 pounds. Because it's a lie. Nobody's going to do that unless I'm chopping off a limb. So it's got to be achievable, be realistic, right? So say maybe you can lose 10 pounds in the next couple of months, whatever. But so it's got to be an achievable goal. It's got to be relevant, or else you're not going to do it, right? It's got to be something that is relevant and important to you. It's got to make a difference. What will make the biggest difference to me in 90 days, if I accomplished it, whether it's work or personal or whatever, what is going to make the biggest difference in your life? Anything, maybe it's read a book, right? Turn off the TV and read a book. Maybe that's relevant. Maybe it's, do your spiritual thing. And I'm going to do that for 90 days. And then it's got to be time bound. You've got to set a deadline. That's why I'm saying I set myself 90-day deadlines, because it's a little bit easier to achieve than, if I set it a year out, I'm still coming at it 30 days before going, oh, shoot, now I got to accomplish that goal, right? Whereas if it's 90 days and it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, you're constantly working on it. Okay. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? And then we're going to talk a little bit about investing beyond the headlines, right? I'm not a big investor, and I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about that side of the balance sheet. But what that means is, what is what kind of risk are we willing to take? I mean, maybe we're investing in a simple money market account. I mean, I think somebody told me a couple of weeks ago, they sent me a link to a Marcus fund that's paying 5% interest. To me, that was very interesting, because I'm a risk adverse person. I've had money in the stock market and lost it. I don't know how to do that, right? I don't have enough money to get a true professional to help me do that. And so for me, risk is big. I'm old, depends on your age, right? But so you have to think of, what does risk mean to you, which goes back to this slide, investing beyond the headlines. So maybe you're just putting a little money in the bank, or you're buying some property, right? I saw Margaret Garymore on this call, and she is a top-notch realtor and professional, as is May. And they will both tell you, you can never go wrong with buying real estate. Ladies, you want to jump in on that one? I mean, there's a country song about the dirt. Just own dirt, right? You can't ever go wrong in this area. But so you have to consider, what does risk mean to you, right? And then your investment profile determines investments appropriate for you. So don't do what everybody tells you to do. Are we a conservative investor? Go to a conservative funds. Work with a conservative financial advisor. Are you moderate? Maybe you're not too much this way, not too much that way. Are you aggressive? Do you want to throw it all on red and see what happens? That is between you and your financial advisor, yourself. But you need to figure out what is your risk tolerance, and then what is the return you're going to get on that investment? Are you the slow and steady, wins the game? That's kind of what my dad always told me. Slow and steady wins the game. But I also have my sons. I mean, I've never seen a generation like this in my life. I mean, they're on their phones and throwing money at this and that. By the time they gave the phone to me, I was down $3,000. I'm like, I'd have rather gone to Vegas and put on the slot machines. I'd have at least gotten 5 days out of that, Consider aligning your values and your investments. So I think Diane mentioned that gave her heart, and that fed her soul. But that's really important too, is to consider aligning your values and your investments. And I'm just going to say it, let's take the mega trends into account. So maybe 1 minute people are buying Bitcoin and, whatever that thing is, that Coinbase app, and doing that. You got to take it into account. Do you have the money to take that kind of a risk? Do you really know what you're doing when you do that kind of thing, right? And be aware of the technological breakthroughs, be aware of the demographics and social changes in our area and the rapid urbanization, and this is nothing to cry over either. It's the climate change and resource scarcity, right? We have to think about investing in that, and emerging global wealth. So I say you choose one, they say pick one and do it well. Pick one of those areas that you're passionate about and invest in that area. And I'm telling you, time and time again, you're going to see the fruits of that labor. right? Because you're going to be passionate about it. It's going to matter to you, and your money's going to grow because you're going to be investing in an area that matters to you. And back to the property and what have you. Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in the game. Get in the game. You know, because look at inflation. You all know what's happening, right? And it's going to we're going to be ebb and flows throughout our lifetime. Interest rates, ebb and flows. I tell everybody the interest rates are fine. When I bought my first house, they were 17%. So don't cry about the 7% today. It's okay, you know, but you got to get in the game when you can, whether it's in a house or if you choose to play the stock market or in money market accounts, get in. Because I told my financial person that does my retirement account, I think last year I called her and I said, you know, I think I better start, paying my taxes and putting money in. And she goes, well, the market's down. I go, well, then what a great time to stick money in there, right? Because it can only go up from there. And waiting for the right time to invest can leave you behind. And here's the growth of a hypothetical 100,000 investment, assuming a 10% annual yield. So if you started here in year 0, you're at 259, 374. If you wait 5 years, then you're at 161, 051, just in a hypothetical. So again, when you're ready, jump in. Did somebody have a question? And this is very true too. Time in the market versus timing in the market, right? So missing top performing days can hurt your return. So the hypothetical investment of 100,000 in the S&P 500 index over the last 20 years, from 2002 to 2021, right? And so look at the people that stayed invested. They didn't panic and run. Look where they are. Look at the people that panicked and panicked and panicked, and look where they ended up being. And diversification, even when it's hard, just trust in it, right? Trust in the diversification. And by the way, I'm going to apologize. These slides, I do this class with a financial advisor, and see that these are her classes. I should have invited her to come on. Maybe next time we will, because she'll know a lot more about this. I'm, like I said, more of the liability management, which we're going to get into in a few seconds. But, build your foundation for wealth and being, right? So, we got to get organized, right? You've got to have your statements, your bank accounts, your retirement accounts, your tax returns. How many of you are all organized and know where all this is and all our passwords? It's like you go to the doctor once a year. Are we all doing financial literacy once a year? Are we reacquainting ourselves with what's going on? Because when you're stagnant, you're not making money, you're losing money, right? When you don't know what your budget is every month and you're just, oh, whatever, here's my money, I'm just going to pay the bills, you're losing money, right? Because you're not organized. You've got to stay organized, and you've got to just make it once a year. I do it in November. The first week in November, I call it my financial fitness day. And I just go through, and I didn't always do this, believe me. I just learned to do this when I became self-aware about 5 or 10 years ago. But it's very important to have financial literacy and to stand on top of it. Do it for yourself. Be organized. It's important to know where all of your documents are, right? And again, here we go. Define your goals. Short-term goals, medium goals, and long-term goals, right? A short-term goal is, I want to pay off credit card debt. And if you want to talk to me about credit card debt, how to pay it off, I will tell you how. It's so easy. How many of us have heard of the debt snowballing, right? So say you've got 3 credit cards, you start paying the largest debt first. And when that's paid, the smallest debt first. And when that's paid off, you don't take that extra $200 and go to the great store that just opened up here on Foothill, the home store. Please don't walk in there. Oh my gosh, Margaret, don't go in. It's so cute in there, the Christmas stuff, and it's a home goods store. But the point of it is, You take your $200 that you're paying that credit card and you add it to the next credit card along with that payment. And when that credit card is paid off, then you take the payment from the first and the second credit card along with the payment from the third credit card, and you pay that off too. It's what we call debt snowballing. You know, maybe short term you're going to save, but don't always use it for debts too, because debts are always going to be here. Maybe you want to save a couple grand and do a little vacation or go to the spa or go get a massage or you know, something fun for you, go out for a great dinner, whatever it is that you want to do, right? Medium kind of things are, oh, maybe I need to refinance my mortgage, you know. Unless your mortgage rate is really high, you need to talk to a professional who's going to make sure, because look, as mortgage advisors, we only get paid if we close a loan. So you're going to find a lot of us out there that just want to do your refinance. You want to talk to someone like me or my team, and there's many advisors like me out there too, but you want to make sure that you're going to make a right decision. It's a good financial decision for you, right? I'll never forget, I had a kid in the office that joined us, and he walks in like about a, because I'm loud, as you can probably tell. And he says to me, can you explain, don't you only make money if you close a loan? And I said, yes. He goes, well, that was the third person I heard you say I wouldn't advise you to refinance. I go, well, yeah, because it didn't make financial sense, right? Because that's the name of the game. But a medium term could be, I want to refinance my mortgage. That was a medium term for me and my husband. And I'm so grateful that we did it. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago when the rate went down, but we were finally got ourselves in the financial position to where we could do that. Maybe I want to start investing in a 525, 529 plan, which for those of you that don't know what that is, it's a kind of an investment plan that you can start for your grandchildren to pay for college. And I mean, it's a complicated, but I believe you don't have to designate it. Like you could use it for any of your grandchildren, okay? But maybe that's a medium-term plan, or you want to start one for yourself, a 401k or an IRA. A long-term plan, maybe, look, we're now looking at the numbers. I need $1 million in the bank before I can retire. Like you said, for long-term care, for who's going to take care of me, right? So these are long-term goals and they're achievable, right? How many of us know that if we write it down and we plan, it ends up happening? If we don't plan, it's just never going to happen. Maybe you want, this is a good one, I love it. I want to buy a second home in Cape Cod. I'd like to go visit Cape Cod someday, but that's a long-term goal, right? Those are all kinds of things. And again, you want to define them and you want them to be smart, right? You know your numbers. Don't be afraid of your numbers. Know what you own, know what income comes in, and then know your liabilities. Don't hide from it. Know every dollar you owe, just like you know every dollar you have. And know your expenses. Know what's coming out. And then I beseech all of you to look at your bank statements and make sure that there's no fraud happening in there. Have you ever gone back in and noticed whether it's a $2 here or $4 here, and you're like, it's not me? If you don't catch those, they turn bigger and bigger, right? Because people are, got to be very careful these days. And get invested in a portfolio. Again, know yourself, know your goals, know your needs. Ask for help from experts. You would not feel your own tooth if it was hurting. You'd go to the dentist, right? Go to a financial person to help you. Ask for help. Know your options. Start now. Start now. I have a class I teach to high school students, and it blew me away when I first learned how to do the class, right? Because my mentor, John Thompson, did it with me for a group of young women that we were trying to help years ago. It's called What is Enough? And when he showed that if you took $1,000 and put it into a savings account when you were, I think the age was 15 or 16, and all you did was put in $1,000 every year, by the time you were 60, I can't remember the number. I wish I could look back at the slide, but it was a lot of money. And all it took was $1,000 a year. And I'm like, geez, every kid should know this. Because if they saw that slide, they'd be anxious to put $1,000 or $500 away a year and don't pretend it doesn't exist because it's compound interest, right? And you stay invested, right? And then you've got to plan your unique path. Is it parenting and caregiving? You know, are we going to invest in our health, Social Security, Medicare, divorce or a loss, estate planning, right? These are all different buckets. Now, I was going to kind of briefly go through each one. Do we have time for me to do that? Or what do you think? Do you guys want to look at all these quick slides or?
Yes, please.
Okay, perfect. Because I know some of us aren't there, but you know, maybe it'll help. So parenting and caregiving kind of goes hand in hand. I am a sandwich generation, caring for my children, my older children who had to live home for longer than most kids do because they can't afford to be on their own, and my aging parents. My mom just passed away last year, 98 years old, God bless her, and my uncle's 105. So it's like we're kind of stuck, right? So 80%, 86% of women have children. That's and they have 2.4 kids on average. $54,000 a year in assisted living fees. $108,405 per year in a private room in a nursing home. That was in 2022. It's worse today. It's scary when you look at that number. Scary, right? So what? Invest in your health. Be smart now, right? Yes. $12,530 per year average healthcare spending out of pocket, ladies, on our health. But isn't it better to invest now, eat right, exercise, do all the things we need to do, go to those annual physicals, get your annual mammograms. I mean, I think May mentioned to you, I'm very passionate about cancer. My niece had cancer. My aunt passed away of cancer. My brother-in-law has cancer. It's a big thing, right? And it's important that we take care and screen early, learn early what's wrong with us so that it makes this cost less as we get older, right? So I want you to also invest in your health. Question? Okay. Social Security, again, if you guys haven't had a Social Security expert or a Medicare or Medi-Cal expert, I know many of them that would come talk to you. This is important too. Social Security has 3 types of benefits: individual, a spousal, and a survivor. Do you all know what that is? So when you retire, you get your individual Social Security. There's spousal, so that if, like, my mom didn't really work, so she got a little bit of my dad's. And then there's the survivor. When the spouse passes away, you get the higher benefit of the two of you, but you need to know so you can be an advocate for yourself with the Social Security office, right? And you can retire with Social Security at 62 for the full retirement age, or you can wait till you're 70. I think it's changed. This slide was back in 2021. So I think now we're 72. And I think it's going to go up, guys. I really do. I think there's talks about moving it to 74, I think. But, Social Security, what's the benefit for spouses? So you got to be married for at least a year. Your spouse must be collecting Social Security, and your personal benefit must be less than half of your spouse's benefit at full retirement age. And that's how you get your spousal benefits, right? Survivor benefits. You have to be married for at least 9 months, unmarried or married after age 60 when you're collecting, and the benefit generally equals the amount of the deceased spouse was collecting, okay? And then there's all—
Can I add a little bit something on that Social Security thingy?
Yeah, what did you say? Go ahead.
Yes, someone that works there said that it is never in our best interest to wait for longer years before starting to collect. Because when you wait, you can only collect it for a short period of time and then you're out of here. Yeah. So always start as early as possible and you have more time to actually benefit from it.
You're right.
Angle and say, if you wait, you're going to get $200 more. And then we wait and only collect it for 18 months and we're out.
Yeah, that's a good point. Very good point. And again, I would say discuss it with your financial advisor and what works best for you. But that's yes, there's a huge train of thought on that, to collect as early as possible and take it as long as you can. But again, that's a personal, right? You have to make that financial decision with your advisor. But yes, I happen to agree. There's Medicare, so there's Part A, which is the insurance. Part B, that's Part A is the hospital insurance. Part B is medical insurance, and Part D is prescription drug coverage. And then Part C is Medicare Advantage. So you have to make sure you're taking the right, I can't speak to this yet because I'm not an expert, but I just wanted to put the slide up so you kind of kept aware of Medicare and make sure you're doing it right. The only thing that I did learn is that my mom, when my dad passed away, didn't do it right. And her penalty was larger than her fee because she didn't choose correctly when it was the right time. So again, I highly suggest we talk with an expert,
Kal,
Yes.
I was very lucky. The lady that does my taxes gave me the card of a woman who does Medicare. She's a Medicare advisor, and she has helped tremendously. She helped, sign me up. She calls me, touch bases with me every time the new period comes up to make sure I'm happy, to make sure, things are going well. If anybody would like her information, I can sure give it to you.
I would love her information. I'm always looking for professionals I can refer. So yeah, so you know how important that is, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's a oh my God, is it confusing?
Oh, of course. And then of course we have, the women that are divorced or widowed, right? And that brings on a whole bunch of different challenges, right? Estate planning. I mean, I hope everybody on this call has an estate, has a will or a trust, no matter what you have. It's really important to have your key documents to ensure that you have your wishes in place, right? Choose your own power of attorney. Make sure you have an advance directive, a medical power of attorney, and make sure you have a will, or if you have any assets, that they're placed in a trust. Do that early, do that smart, right? Be thoughtful about what you're doing. And again, talk to your financial professional. Assemble your team of experts, right? You need experts. Like I said, if your tooth had a cavity, you wouldn't fill it yourself. You'd get your own financial professional, your own realtor, your own insurance specialist, your own attorney, appraiser, mediator, business valuation expert, if that was applicable, accountant, a life coach if you wanted, right? And again, what are we going to say? Get organized, define your goals, know your numbers, get invested, and you make a plan for your unique life path. Very important for us women to know what we're doing. So let's have a little discussion now. Tell me, what financial actions are you going to take? And what is something that you learned from this little presentation? And then I'll go to the liabilities with Savology in a second. I'll stop sharing. Anybody have any comments or questions or want to share anything about what they're doing?
I'd like to make two comments if possible, since no one else is jumping in. On Kezia's point on collecting early, did I say it right? No, on Miss Mathieu.
Ngozi, that's fine. It's okay. Ngozi is fine.
Yes, on her point of collecting earlier, your comment to consult with an advisor was very well taken, because if you take it too early and you're still receiving income from another source, you'll be paying taxes to the federal government or to the state government. So it really is a balancing act as to at what point in time you'll take that money and you're not increasing your wealth to the extent of just paying taxes on it. So that's that. And then one of our presenters, Dr. Farishte Bethel, had sent a note to me to make sure that I raised this issue as a financial literacy point that I wanted Cal to possibly comment on. That a lot of times people think that this low interest rate is a great, thing that's happened to humanity, and then when it goes up a little, they get very nervous. But isn't it true that within the next 3 or 5 years of your paying off your mortgage, you're really paying the highest ever rates of interest anyway? Because if you're not buying that home for a lifetime investment and you're changing hands, you're selling it, in the first few years, you could have paid like 13% on an interest if you divide it up on the term of the loan and the life of the loan. So don't be fooled by these things unless you talk to a financial advisor and ask the right question to make sure you make the right decision. So thank you.
And she's absolutely right. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody's in a different place, and you have different goals and, different dreams. And so you do need to talk with a financial advisor before you make any of those types of decisions, right? Because they're all impactful. They make a big difference, and you don't want to make a mistake. Just like with Medi-Cal or your medical insurance or what have you, you want to make a good decision. I'm going to share my screen, and I want to know, I'm going to share my screen. So do you see my picture there with my team? All right, that's us. That's the Simple Mortgage team. That's myself, my partner, John Thompson, David Thompson, his son, and Jack. But key in here on the Savology link. Do you see that? So here's my question. Now, if I move to my Word document to read from you, are you now seeing my Word document, or do you still see? Okay, good. I'm glad. I didn't want you to see my notes. They're messy. All right. So if you look at that link and you want to put it in now into your computer and take a look at it, that would be fabulous. If not, you can wait. So this is a free tool that we gave away or giving to our clients. And so I highly suggest you take advantage of it. And I'm going to promise you, none of your information is going to be sold or out there. It's simply so we belong to a nonprofit called Knife. And it's always about financial literacy and how, as certified liability advisors, we're always trying to help do something. And so my partner, John's mentor, they came up with this thing called Savology, and it's still in an experimental phase, but they gave me access, and you won't be able to do as much in it. Maybe I think their goal is someday to sell this to people. I'm going to be very transparent, but right now they're beta testing it with their own people, but they gave it to me. And I've been giving it to my younger clients, and they've loved it. I'm using it. And so my goal is constantly to provide you with education to assist you in making great financial decisions, right? And so this is called Savology. It's a financial wellness tool that helps you understand and improve your financial picture. It can assist you with creating a personalized financial plan. This does not replace a financial planner, but I'll tell you how it helped me. I was embarrassed to go talk to somebody because I wanted to know what I had and where I was first. And I've always waited, like that slide said, don't wait. So I'm telling you, do as I say, not as I do. But this tool really, it kind of helped me really see it and go, wait, this is good. I'm in a good place, right? Better than I thought. It helped me understand my insurance needs. I didn't realize what some of my needs were and where I was deficient, right? It helped me do that. It helped me to plan for retirement. I can't stick my head in the sand anymore, for crying out loud. I'm 60. I want to retire someday. So you got to look at it and say, where are we? What are we going to do? And it offers actionable steps to improve your financial health. So it's going to ask you a bunch of information about you, and you're going to put in what you want. It's going to give you pie charts, and it'll give you different areas to do it. I'm going to open mine in a second, see if I can log into it while I'm doing this. But
could you put it into this chat?
You want me to put the link in the chat? I can do that.
Yeah, because it's not clickable from
Oh,
our.
let me do that really quick. Let's see if I This is where I need that little jack. Hold on.
The whole thing.
How do I get back to Zoom? Wait a minute. Where did my chat box go? Here. I'm going to stop sharing for a second so I can put in the chat. All right. There you go. You get it?
Yeah.
Okay. I do want to remind you that, the team and I at Simple Mortgage, we take your privacy seriously. I want you to rest assured that Savology shares our commitment to privacy. All you need to get started is a first name and an email address. Do not put in social security numbers. Don't put in birthday. Don't do any of that stuff. Just your name and an email address, okay? And then you click on it, and you just kind of go. I mean, it's a really, really interesting and cool tool to use. And I'm going to come back into Zoom here. I'm going to give you all my email address. If you ever have any questions, want to talk about anything, if I could be of any help ever, please email me. I'm happy to do that, to share anything that I know. And what was nice for me about Savology is I was forced to put in my income and my outflow, and it helped me create a budget. And I've always lived on a budget. I'm not going to lie and pretend that I didn't. I'm pretty funny that way. And my husband's incredible. He's quite the spreadsheet guy, and he does a great job. I mean, he did such a great job in the spreadsheet that he put in all of our monthly bills with like a hyperlink that you click and it takes you right there to pay. It's the coolest thing. I'm not technologically savvy like that, but anyway, and it helps. I mean, it just does. So with that, I'm going to say, gosh, thank you. I think I probably jot on, but we can have a free conversation, or, I'm here to answer any of your questions, but it's been a real pleasure talking to you guys. Thank you.
I really appreciated it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. My pleasure. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts or anything they want to share about their personal life? Margaret.
Kal, thank you for the nice presentation. Always a pleasure. I have a visitor. I hope you don't mind an uninvited.
He's so cute.
It's a baby.
An uninvited guest. That's Max. Kal, is there anything you absolutely would not do? Any investment, anything that's tricky, anything on your whole list? I love the Social Security conversation came up because I think that's tricky.
Yeah.
But is there anything that you flat out would never do or would be incredibly careful about?
So, Margaret, that's a great question. And the thing I'm going to tell you is to be aware of scams and pyramids and get rich quick. Be very, very careful. Especially you've all heard about AI, artificial intelligence. As a funny exercise, the guys in my office recorded me on a phone call and then created a presentation where it was my face and my voice to show me what can happen and what is out there. So my caution is, don't do anything that looks like a get rich quick or a scam. And please make sure that you know who you're talking to. And we've told our family, here's our safe word, because, they're calling older people and saying, hey, this is your grandson, Adam. I'm in Mexico. I'm in jail and I need money. And please, grandma, go wire me money, or what have you. Margaret, maybe your beautiful cat goes missing for an hour and they're like, well, we have your cat and you've got to pay to get him out. I mean, it's crazy. So that's my caution. Don't invest in anything that's pyramid looking or get rich quick, and vet who you're talking to and getting advice from. Does that answer the question? Any other questions?
I have a question for the audience, if they don't mind turning their videos on, so I can take a group picture.
Oh, that would be nice. I'd love that.
Yeah, nice. I'd like to send it to you as our way
I
of
would love that. I'll put y'all on Facebook. And I love your organization.
thank you. Okay, I'll count till 10. And please, everyone, put a big smile and say, thank you, Cal. So that I love screenshots. So, okay, there we go. 1, 2, 3, smile. Another one. 1, 2, 3. I want to names. Okay, thank you very much,
Thank you.
Cal.
Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm going to leave you to your meeting, and I appreciate it, May. Thank you for introducing me to this group. And anytime you want me, I'm happy to come back.
Well,
Of
I
course.
think
Thank you.
that's
Thank you.
definitely something we want is for you to come back sometime. I really like that SMART. I think that might be a good topic at some
Yeah,
point.
we could do that too. We could definitely do one of those workshops. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful evening.
And take
Thank you,
care
Karen.
and the
Sure.
best to your uncle and
Thank
your
you.
family.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank
God
you.
bless you for bringing in and taking care of him as part of the family. That's the best thing that could happen to the older
Oh,
one.
100%.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much,
guys.
Cal. I
Thank you.
really appreciate you accepting our invitation. Margaret is another gem that we need to invite back to come and talk to us. I really appreciate all of you being here. It's wonderful to see all of you. Thank you, Cal.
Before I leave
you.
everyone or let everyone leave, do you mind, Cal, for me to put a 30-second commercial for a fundraising dinner that we have
Please
coming up?
do.
Thank you. On December 3rd, Sunday at 5 o'clock, we have a Bollywood night for our Girls Empowerment Program, the mentoring that we do offer at 4 sites within the Rancho Cucamonga and Rialto school districts. And these are after-school programs, and the girls learn many ways of making healthy decisions, making right choices. And we would definitely want you to maybe create a little curriculum for us to actually include as part of our curriculum for the schools after school programs. So on that day, I think in about 2 days, we're going to increase the price, the early bird price of $75 per person and $500 a table of 8 will go away and it will increase. So right now, really, it's going to be so much fun. If you look up at our websites for the years prior, it's a Bollywood night. People dress up in their Indian garbs, and we have presentations on what these little girls do and how they learn about life through their field trips, and then of course we're just going to have a lot of fun ourselves, and we'll like to have auction items and things donated. So in any which way you can help, we would really appreciate you being there. And Cal, we would love to have you be with us on those nights. I would love to have you as an honored guest.
Oh,
or
you're so
your
sweet.
organization wants
Send
to.
me the flyer and I'll see what I can do for you guys with
Thank you very much. Yeah,
Thank you.
that would be great if you can offer, discounts to people who would come in, or I mean, anything that you think that would help with the auction items or introducing your business to people too. So thank you for letting me take advantage of that. And we'll see everyone next month, or do we not have our session next?
No, we have one next month. It's December 8th. It's going to be with an organization called Women Rise. And I'm not sure what the topic is going to be. Sohaila or Andrea, do you remember what we talked about? But it's in women's empowerment. It'll be.
Okay, then maybe those who have not received direct emails from us regarding this presentation or this session, please put your emails in the chat so we can add you to our mailing list. And that way you will be notified of every one of the future sessions. Then we have one of our advisory council members, Hush Imani, who's here on the screen. He's one of the brave men who does show up every single time for these workshops. And we have a few other ones who are we are very grateful for their participation and support. But Hush will be making a presentation, I believe it's in January. So again, we're on the second Friday of every month. It conflicts with another program, and that's why we're missing some of the friends who are supporters. But I think for now, we're still at 5 o'clock, second Friday of January. And please give us
In December.
in December and the end of December as well. So give us your email so we'll keep you posted. Thank you.
Okay, if this helps in the spirit of giving back, if anybody ever that you guys come in contact with, they want to do the she's gone already. Was it Mark? That wants to do the snowball thingy, the debt stacking. I have a software, my financial advisor. I have a software that I can do this for someone free, no charge, there's no obligation to do anything at all. Okay.
That's beautiful.
Thank
Why don't
you.
Give us some of those little cards that say that, and then maybe we will either auction it off or raffle it off as gifts for our fundraising.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Thank you guys so much. This was very informative. I really appreciate that.
Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.